So my original idea was to use a spool of string right here, basically wind it up and then lock it into place with some kind of catch. And what would be pulling on that string would be this weight over here. And this weight would need to be heavy enough that it overcomes the weight of the string and whatever resistance we have on the edges here. And then also just the weight of the T infuser and the T inside of it, so that this would pull when this mechanism is released. So another idea I had was to use a motor here. The motor would be activated by closing a circuit with like an egg timer. So that egg timer would be spinning around, and as it hits the 0 position, it would make contact with another wire and complete a circuit and activate the motor. The motor would turn and then just basically spool up here using these pulleys here to reduce the overall torque, I guess, needed to lift the tea bag here, which wouldn't really be that much weight. Really what you're dealing with is just the string. I think the pulleys would probably be overkill anyway. Another idea I had, rather than trying to use a kitchen timer, was just to use like water and basically like a drip or a flow system that would slowly let water into a mechanism here that we catch. So as this fills up, we would measure the time, and we'd have a couple different times, 3 actually, that we need to be concerned with. That'd be the steep time for green tea, black tea, and oolong tea. Each would be different. And we would measure the amount of water in the amount of times for each of those. And then we'd weigh, so not necessarily concerned with the volume here, but the weight here. We'd weigh the amount of water that was released during those amounts of times. And that would be what we use over here as our counterbalance weight. So on the other side of this, I guess, fulcrum that we have right here would be something of equal weight. And once enough water had dripped into here to equalize the weight here, this would then push up and trigger some kind of, the release of some kind of catch, and that would trigger whatever our action is to pull the tea bag out. So I tried to tighten up the idea here a little more. What I would use to actually clamp onto the tea bag would be like one of these little clips here, and we would drill a hole in the top and clamp it onto the tea bag, and that would allow us to support tea bags and like tea infusers. So what I wanted to do was try and use what I had already around here, and I had a bunch of these extra protein containers. I had a mouse trap. So what I decided to do is put a hole in the top here, and that would hold this string. We have, take this out, so I cut a little window in here. We clipped on the bag here, and we raise it up a little to get the cup in there, and then raising this lever to here and clipping this onto here. Once this is in place, that'll hold this catch, and all we have to do is push down right here ever so slightly, and that will trigger the release of the bar here. And because it's clipped on, it's going to raise the tea bag the same amount of the distance that we're traveling from here to here as this bar is pulled down. So what that means is the motion we would use to trigger this would be a downward motion. So what we'll probably need to do is actually put the counterbalance on this side and have the drip system dripping into here, and that would, instead of flipping up and releasing something, it'd just be the weight pulling down on it. And we'd have to make sure that these two things are close enough and they don't spread apart and that it pushes straight down on it.